Meet Zeno. Zeno hasn't posted on social media in over a year. No selfies, no updates, no look what I'm doing moments. And honestly, Zeno seems more at peace than anyone you know. While everyone around Zeno is filming their dinner before eating it, Zeno is just eating, actually tasting it, actually being there. You'd think someone living that quietly would feel left out, but Zeno doesn't look like someone who's missing anything. Zeno looks free. So what does Zeno know that the rest of us are still trying to figure out? Because here's the truth about people who step away from social media. They did a study once where they asked people to track every time they felt anxious while using social media. Want to know the number one trigger? It wasn't hate comments. It wasn't losing followers. It was the moment right before posting. That tiny window between thinking, should I share this? And actually sharing it. That pause is where everything lives. Zeno knows that pause well. Zeno felt it every single time. That little voice asking, is this good enough? Will people care? What if nobody responds? And one day, Zeno just stopped. Not out of anger, not out of fear, just because that pause started feeling louder than the actual moment Zeno was trying to capture. Here's something most people don't realize. Your nervous system was never built for mass observation. For thousands of years, humans only had to manage how they looked in front of a small group of people they actually knew. Now suddenly you're performing for hundreds of strangers, and your brain is trying to process all of that at once. It's exhausting. Researchers have found that people with a more sensitive inner world feel this pressure even more deeply. They don't just post and forget it. They replay it. They check it. They feel every like and every silence personally. So when someone like Zeno quietly steps back, it's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's the nervous system finally saying, whew, I was not designed for this. There's a psychologist named Edward Deci who spent decades studying what actually makes humans feel good about themselves. His research kept pointing to the same thing. People feel healthiest when their actions come from the inside, not from chasing approval on the outside. Social media flips that completely. It trains you to create for reaction, to live for response, to measure your moments by how many people double-tapped them. And slowly, without even noticing, your inner voice gets quieter and the comment section gets louder. Zeno didn't delete social media because Zeno was antisocial. Zeno deleted it because Zeno wanted that inner voice back. Now here's the part that really gets interesting. Most people assume that stepping away from social media means stepping away from people. But the research says the exact opposite. Studies on relationship quality consistently show that people who invest less time in online social performance tend to invest more time in actual human connection. Not wider connection, deeper connection. Think about Zeno's friendships. Zeno doesn't have 400 followers who know Zeno's highlight reel. Zeno has 6 people who know what Zeno is actually going through, who notice when Zeno goes quiet, who show up without needing to be tagged in anything. That kind of friendship doesn't happen when you're busy managing your online image. It happens when you put the phone down and actually show up. And here's something worth sitting with. People who avoid posting aren't checked out of the world. They're actually more tuned in. Because they're not spending mental energy crafting captions or choosing filters, they have more room to notice things. The shift in someone's mood. The detail in a conversation that tells you more than the words do. The feeling in a room that nobody's talking about. Zeno is that person. Quiet online, fully present in real life. Psychologists call this private self-awareness. It's not about being mysterious or closed off. It's about building your sense of self from the inside, rather than from the outside. Instead of asking, how will this look to others, you start asking, how does this actually feel to me? And that shift, as small as it sounds, changes everything. Because when your identity doesn't depend on an audience, you stop performing and start living. There's also something deeply protective happening here. Every time you scroll, your brain is quietly running comparisons. Someone else's vacation, someone else's body, someone else's career moment. And even when you know it's staged, even when you tell yourself it's not real, your nervous system still registers it as a gap between where they are and where you are. Zeno opted out of that game entirely. But let's talk about something nobody really says out loud. There's a certain kind of person who feels things more deeply than average, who processes experiences on a level that most people don't, who can walk into a room and immediately sense the emotional temperature without anyone saying a word. Research shows that roughly 1 in 5 people are wired this way. And for these people, social media isn't just annoying, it's genuinely overwhelming. Zeno is one of these people. And for a long time, Zeno thought something was wrong. Why did a single negative comment sting for days? Why did scrolling for 20 minutes leave Zeno feeling completely drained? Why did posting something personal feel like standing in the middle of a crowded room with no walls? The answer wasn't weakness. The answer was depth. Zeno simply processes the world more thoroughly than most. And here's what's beautiful about that. The same sensitivity that made social media feel unbearable is the exact same quality that makes Zeno an incredible friend, a deep thinker, and someone who actually means it when they ask how you're doing. Sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's a feature. It just doesn't belong on a platform built for quick reactions and surface-level approval. Researchers have found that people who score high in self-reflection and emotional depth are far less likely to find value in public posting, not because they have nothing to say, but because what they have to say deserves more than a comment section. So when you see someone like Zeno living quietly offline, don't assume they're behind. Don't assume they're struggling. Don't assume they don't know what they're missing. Assume instead that they made a very deliberate choice, a choice to protect their peace, a choice to live their life without a live audience, a choice to feel things fully without broadcasting every single one of them. And that choice, quiet as it is, takes more courage than any post ever could. Because what comes next for people like Zeno might surprise you. And that's the thing nobody tells you. The people who go quiet online aren't lost. They're the ones who finally found something worth protecting. Zeno didn't stop posting because life got boring. Zeno stopped because life got real. The kind of real that doesn't fit in a caption. The kind that feels too valuable to hand over to strangers for a few seconds of approval. So maybe the question isn't why people like Zeno leave social media. Maybe the real question is why the rest of us are still staying. If this felt true to you, please subscribe.